Well, it was really good timing, actually. Blaine did a webinar or kind of a virtual presentation to our branch talking about some of the key pitfalls that individuals have in their sales journey, and just going through kind of the mindset of sales and outreach and trying to get people to understand your story. I was pretty new in the advisory role at that stage, starting out with very little connections online and not a very significant network as well. So at that point, I was really struggling on just where do I begin and how do I get myself in front of the right amount of people and say the right thing, you know? There's group sessions every week, so it would be every Tuesday, and then it moved to every Tuesday or Friday, so it's pretty flexible. It's about an hour and a half each time, and goes through different topics, the client acquisition, you know, buyer seller dance, how to properly manage your funnel, focusing on pain points is a big one, and mindset. Sometimes it's like almost like a therapy session, where most deals are won and lost just because of what's going on in your head, and some really interesting insights that were uncovered just about mental health and mindset that really affect your ability to get out there and tell your story. So a lot of different topics are covered in these sessions, and so every week is different. A little bit of repetition sometimes, but that's just to kind of reinforce the learning that you've had in the prior sessions. But overall, I think it was a very insightful journey that we were on, for sure. There's a progression in terms of your learning. So it starts off as very base level. They want to integrate you into the program and teach you the kind of touch points, the Sandler touch points that you need to learn. So it's a beginner session for the first few months. And then you turn into a mastery group where they're not teaching you these beginner steps anymore. You're actually with a group of people who have already gone through that process. And then you can kind of add on to that learning that you had already. So it was important to go through that whole process, because the first step is just learning the theory, I guess. And then the second step is just implementing it as time goes on, but kind of coming to the sessions and trying to hone your craft as time goes on as well. Well, one thing I can say for sure is that my organization behind the scenes in terms of, you know, developing my prospecting plan has been a big benefit to me. So just having a sense of what my actual goals are moving forward, not just in terms of my assets brought into business, but like the actual day-to-day goals that I have, the activities that I need to do. One of the big teachings is that you need to be active in the things that you can control, because there's stuff that you can't control in the buyer and seller dance. But the things you can control are doing calls, outreach regularly every day, go to networking events, that kind of thing. And to have that as an established plan within your business will ultimately yield results as time goes on, you know. I've been able to now like systemize it. It's an actual process where I know each meeting and where I need to go in the next meeting. And that upfront contract really helps me form the knowledge of that potential client to understand what is actually coming next, so that they know what's going on. And it just makes it so much more seamless of a process and so much more professional, you know? So I think that's the real benefit to me, is just the process behind it has been really helpful. It's led to a lot of opportunities. So it's something that I think is really, really helpful, for sure. Yeah, well, I think it's a great idea if you have the capacity to do it. I would say you need to be willing to put in the time and effort, and actually be willing to change your ways in order to have the most benefit out of it. It is a decent time commitment. It's an hour and a half every week for a year, basically. There's some weeks off as well, so you have to be aware of that. But that being said, it just means that you're constantly being reminded of the things that you were taught, and there's a benefit to that continuity. So I would just say it's worth it if you're willing to go all in with it. But if you're not, if you're going to be kind of on the fence throughout the process, you know, it might be too much of a commitment for you. But that being said, it's transformational in the way that you like perceive yourself. There's so many things that you wouldn't have thought of that are uncovered through this process, and I can say that I've definitely gotten the value out of the cost to the program. So from my personal experience, I think it's a worthy investment, but I just don't want to tell anyone to invest in it if they don't have the time.